The Patron's son was supposed to win, but a barefoot servant girl on a borrowed gray mare just crossed the finish line first.
Disqualify her. This is an outrage. She must have cheated.
I won, but victory means nothing if they strip it away now.
The judges did not celebrate. Instead, the head judge reached beneath the table and produced a thick envelope sealed with red wax.
We were ordered by a dying woman to open this only if a servant girl won this race.
Inside that envelope, sealed with red wax, was a truth that would end the Patron's bloodline and destroy his grip on this land forever. 3 days earlier, no one saw this coming, but the wheels of fate had begun to turn.
I will give my entire ranch, 3,000 acres, to anyone who can beat my son in a fair race.
Child, do not even dream of it. That man only offers what he thinks is impossible.
But I have scrubbed every inch of this land. I know paths his son never will.
That evening, in the dim light of his study, Donald poured 2 fingers of whiskey and revealed the real purpose of the race to his son.
I've had nails scattered on the main path, and your brother's saddle was weighted last night. No peasant will survive the course.
And if by some miracle a servant survives and still crosses first, the workers will expect you to honor the prize.
The judges are in my pocket. The prize is a fiction. We'll be laughing at them before sunset tomorrow.
Outside the study door, Catherine pressed her ear to the cool wood, every word sharpening the fury inside her.
It's a massacre dressed as sport. He thinks cruelty makes him untouchable.
Marta found her there, gripping her arm and pulling her into the shadow of the kitchen.
I told you, stay away from that man's schemes. He will destroy anyone who challenges him.
But the race is rigged, Marta. If someone knew the hidden ditches and goat paths, if someone could avoid his traps, maybe the joke could turn on him. The impossible had just become a maybe. And I might be the only one who can do it.
That night, Catherine crept to the stable where Tomas was grooming the old gray mare.
Thomas, let me borrow Nibla. They've rigged the race. I know secret paths. I can beat them.
Nibla is old, but she has more heart than any horse here. Take her, and take this.
He showed her a hidden hollow log where he'd kept the old señora's bridle, supple as cloth as cloth.
She was born to run free, not carry the Patron's son, ride at dawn, before the overseers wake.
In the gray light before sunrise, Catherine rode Nibla bareback through the hidden ditches, her bare feet gripping the mare's warm sides.
I've fetched water through these ravines for 10 years. Every hidden drop-off, every soft spot, I know them like my own hands.
On the last morning, she spotted the glint of nails on the main trail, exactly where Donald said they would be.
This is his trap, but I can cut through the arroyo, then up the ridge. Niebla can make it. I won't touch that path.
She was ready. The race was tomorrow, and the land was her only ally. In the dusty courtyard, Catherine walked to the registration booth and wrote her name on the entry sheet.
A servant girl on a retired mare. Let her try. Double the traps on the final straight.
He ordered his men to scatter broken glass and rusted iron on the final ridge trail.
We received this sealed envelope from the lawyer today. Our orders are absolute and cannot be questioned.
The envelope carried a single instruction. Open it only if a barefoot woman won the race.
The old señora planned this, but what did she know that we do not?
That evening, Catherine sat with Tomas in the stable, the old bridle resting between them.
They laughed when I signed, even the clerk. They think I am a joke.
The old señora once told me to watch over you. She said, you had the same fire as this land.
Then maybe I wasn't born to be a servant. Maybe this race was always meant for me.
Race morning, the crowd split like a wound. Workers pressed against the left fence, landowners in shaded seats on the right.
Remember, the traps are set. Just stay on the main track and let the peasants break themselves.
Catherine walked Nibla to the line, barefoot in her torn yellow apron. Workers fell silent, landowners snickered.
That's the kitchen girl? I'll be drinking her tears before the second post.
The starting pistol cracked, and the horses exploded forward, desperate to break the line. Catherine held back, letting the thoroughbreds burn their speed on the main track.
Patience. The first ditch is just past that fallen mesquite.
Then she pulled Nibla hard left into a dry ravine, invisible from the main path. She burst out of the ravine ahead of the pack, dust flying, the crowd erupting.
She's using hidden trails. How does a servant know those ditches? She's ahead of me.
Eduardo's horse labored under a saddle, secretly weighted with lead shot, its mouth already bleeding from the cruel bit.
Why is he slowing? I didn't pull him back. This cursed saddle feels heavier than iron.
Catherine threaded Nibla through the second ditch, barely slowing as she ducked under low mesquite branches.
The final trap is on the ridge, glass and iron. I'll have to cut through the old cattle run. It's tighter but clean.
She's cheating, I tell you. Stop the race. That kitchen wretch is using illegal paths.
Then Eduardo's front hoof caught a hidden drain grate, one of his father's own traps. He nearly pitched over the horse's neck. Catherine seized the moment, urging Nibla through the cattle run, and burst into the open, now riding shoulder to shoulder with the Patron's son.
No, she can't be here. I am on the best horse. Father will kill me if I lose.
Her name rose from the workers' side, a chant that climbed the fence posts and reached the ears of the stunned landowners.
The finish line is close, but the ridge ahead is a minefield. I have to trust Nibla's speed now.
The final straight shimmered with heat, a brutal ribbon of dust and scrub. Catherine lay so flat she became part of the horse's neck.
Now Nibla, give them everything, every last reserve.
The old mare's ears pinned back, and she found a gear that belonged to her youth, legs striking the dirt with sudden thunder. Eduardo screamed and whipped his horse, but the thoroughbred was sinking under the weight, its gallop turning desperate. They crossed the finish line. 3 lengths separated the gray mare and the thoroughbred. Catherine did not look back. The workers' side erupted. Hats flew. Women wept, men shouted her name until it became a single chorus. Donald's glass shattered against the veranda railing. From high above, he stared at the finish line as if it had betrayed him. Thomas stood at the fence, the old bridle still clutched in his hand, a tear cutting through the dust on his cheek.
I did it, but victory is just the first step. Now the real fight begins.
The judges sat motionless, their hands invisible under the table, fingers resting on a wax seal. For a heartbeat, the track was silent. Then Donald burst through the crowd, his white Stetson flying off into the dust.
She cut across private land. She used illegal shortcuts. Disqualify her this instant, or I'll have every judge replaced by nightfall.
Eduardo slid off his horse, its mouth raw and bleeding. He did not cheer. He stared at the ground as if the saddle had branded him. The landowners in the shaded seats erupted in agreement. A man in a linen suit shouted that the race had been a mockery from the start. But the workers surged forward, a wall of sun-darkened bodies. Tomas stepped in front of Catherine, his old arms spread wide.
You won fair, Nina. They won't touch you while I breathe.
Then Judge Alvarez stood, his hand raised, the wax seal of the envelope catching the sun. The shouting died to a murmur.
We were instructed by the late Doña Elena to open this envelope only if a barefoot woman crossed the finish line first. That moment is now.
A cold wind seemed to sweep through the crowd. Even the landowners leaned forward, their certainty cracking. The envelope lay on the table, the red wax seal unbroken, and the weight of a dead woman's plan pressed against the afternoon air.
Before she died, Doña Elena summoned 3 judges. She said her son would stage a cruel race, and a servant girl would win it.
Donald froze, his face draining of blood. The name of his own mother struck him like a physical blow.
The old woman who gave me sweets and once called me Little Flame, she planned all of this.
She watched you grow, Nina. She said a reckoning would come, and she made sure the judges would carry her will.
Inside this envelope are 2 documents that will determine the true ownership of this ranch and the identity of this girl.
He slid a folded yellow paper from the envelope. The crowd leaned forward as one, the air thickening with dread.
This is a forgery. My mother was senile in her last months, Whatever that paper says means nothing.
But the workers whispered her name like a saint's. An old woman in the crowd crossed herself and wept.
Everything I believed about my life, my parents, my place, it was all a lie, and she knew.
The first document, a birth certificate, lay unfolded on the table, the ink old but the name clear.
Born in 1919 to Laura Villanueva, deceased. Father listed as Donald Rivas, landowner of this hacienda.
A collective gasp tore through the crowd. The name Laura was known, a young maid who had vanished from the hacienda years ago.
Number? Donald. He's my father. All these years, he made me scrub his floors and never once looked at me.
Lies. That woman was nothing. The certificate is a forgery. Look at the ink. It's fresh.
Father, is that true? Is she my sister?
Catherine, Nina, I am here. You are not alone.
This birth certificate is only the first part. The second document remains, and it concerns the ownership of this land.
Everything I suffered in that kitchen, every humiliation, it was at my own father's hand, and he knew.
Donald's face twisted between fury and terror. He lunged forward, but the workers closed ranks, blocking him. The deed lay on the table, folded tight, its secret still waiting. The sun sank lower, casting long shadows over the track, but the workers surged forward, a wall of sun-darkened bodies, and the landowners' protests crumbled under the chant of Catherine's name.
That paper is mine. I'll burn it before some kitchen wretch steals my name.
I can't watch this.
Silence. The will of Doña Elena will now be honored, or every man here will answer to the law.
He unfurled the second document, a property deed signed and notarized 3 weeks ago, the ink still dark.
I, Doña Elena Rivas, being of sound mind, do hereby transfer full ownership of Hacienda de la Niebla to any biological child of my son Donald, who wins the declared race.
As stunned silence fell, the workers stopped breathing. The landowners exchanged glances of disbelief.
Dios mío, the dead have more power than the living.
I am not a servant. I am the heiress of this land.
The deed remained open on the table, the fate of 3,000 acres hanging on whether the Patron's cruelty could be undone by a dead woman's pen.
Magistrate, you know me. Stop this madness. I funded your court.
The magistrate, a gray-haired man in a dark suit, looked at the documents and then at the crowd. He shook his head once and stepped back.
Then prove it's real. My mother was deranged. That deed is worthless.
I have a letter from her lawyer confirming the deed's notarization 10 miles from here, witnessed by 2 court officials.
The crowd's murmurs turned sharp. Even some landowners edged away from Donald, unwilling to stand against a dead woman's signed will.
Catherine, you are the rightful heir. Do you accept this land and the responsibilities it carries?
All my life, I only owned what I could carry. Now I hold the deed to my grandmother's redemption. I accept. This land will never again be ruled by cruelty while I draw breath.
Then by the power vested in this court, the Hacienda de la Niebla is legally hers.
But Donald did not leave. He stood at the edge of the track, white-knuckled, mouthing a silent curse as the crowd surged around his daughter. Donald ripped the silver bolo tie from his shirt and hurled it to the ground. The turquoise stone shattered against a rock. The broken tie lay in the dust, a symbol of a reign that had just ended.
May you rot, old woman. Eduardo, get on your horse. We're leaving this cursed place.
But when they turned, the workers had formed a wall of sun-darkened bodies, silent and immovable.
Let them pass. They carry nothing now but their own shame. That is a prison enough.
The wall parted like a wound. Donald and Eduardo walked through, never once looking back. A black car waited at the end of the dirt road. It swallowed them, then shrank to a speck in the dust. The silence broke with a roar. Workers surged forward and lifted Catherine onto their shoulders, her bare feet dangling. The deed held high.
They see a hero. I only feel the ghost of the grandmother who gave me this, and the father who stole my childhood.
Long after the crowd left, Catherine stood by the empty judge's table. broken wax at her feet, the weight of 3,000 acres pressing on her 15-year-old shoulders. Catherine walked alone into the house, her bare feet silent on the tiles where she had once scrubbed. The silence of the empty halls felt heavier than any shout. She entered Doña Elena's study. The old woman's portrait hung above the fireplace, and in the corner of the frame, a folded edge of paper peeked out. Catherine drew out the paper. Her grandmother's handwriting was elegant, written in dark ink that had waited for this moment. To the true blood of this land, my granddaughter. What I could not tell you in life, I give now. You were never forgotten.
She knew. All those years, she saw me, and I never knew I had a grandmother.
She wept. Not the dry sobs of the past, but a flood that carried the dirt off her skin and the weight off her ribs. Marta found her there, the flower still on her apron, and without a word gathered the girl into her arms.
You were never an orphan, Nina. The old woman planted you here like a seed, and now you bloom.
I am going to make a promise before this house, Marta. Tomorrow morning, the workers will decide their own fate. You gave me the land, Abuela. Now I will give it back to the people who made it live.
By mid-morning, the courtyard was a sea of sun-darkened faces. Catherine stood on a wooden crate, still barefoot, the deed folded in her hand.
I did not win this land for myself. I wanted to break the lie that a few should own what many have bled for. This hacienda will become a cooperative. Every worker will have a share, a voice, and a piece of the land they have nourished with their own hands. We will call it Cooperativa Hacienda Niebla, after the mayor who carried me to the finish line and into a new truth.
A roar erupted on the left side of the courtyard, and even a few landowners removed their hats in quiet concession.
Thomas, do you hear? The kitchen has become the heart of the hacienda.
From this day, the first law of this land is that no child goes barefoot unwillingly, and no hand works without a share in the harvest.
The workers surged forward, not to lift her in celebration, but to place their hands on her shoulders, a promise of their own.
The law will record this new entity. Doña Elena would have wept for joy.
A wooden sign was hoisted over the gate that afternoon, reading Cooperativa Hacienda Niebla. The silhouette of a gray mare was carved beneath the letters. In the weeks that followed, Catherine did not sit in the Patrón's chair. She picked up a shovel and worked alongside the former servants, repairing the same irrigation ditches she had once hidden in.
You've traded the scrub brush for a shovel, Nina. It suits you.
Niebla was moved to the best stall, with fresh straw every morning and a brass nameplate that spelled out her name beside the stable door.
She ran like the wind for me, Tomas. Now, she will rest like the lady she always was.
One late afternoon, a lone horse appeared at the gate. Eduardo dismounted, holding a small wooden box, his face stripped of its old smirk. He handed Catherine the box without a word, nodded once, and rode away before either could speak.
The broken bolo tie. He came all this way to bring back a piece of his father's defeat.
She placed the box in a drawer in the stable tack room next to the old bridle that had first given her wings.
The boy carries his father's shame, but he is not his father. He may yet find his own road.
The fields of Hacienda Niebla, greened under shared labor. For the first time, the windows of the big house glowed with the light of those who owned the soil they worked. The seasons turned. Catherine grew into a sturdy young woman of 20, her bare feet still calloused from the fields, but her spine now straight with the weight of purpose. One day, a traveling veterinarian came to the cooperative and examined Niebla, now 25, in the shade of a blooming jacaranda. He shook his head in wonder.
She is like the land, Nina. Both were broken and dismissed. Both found their true owner.
And both will be honored for the rest of my days, Tomas. That is a promise.
The cooperative's harvests broke records that season, and its model drew farmers and journalists from across the state who came to see a ranch without a patron. Catherine spent her spare hours teaching the next generation to ride. A small barefoot girl, balanced on a gray foal descended from Niebla's lineage.
Hold the mane, not the saddle. She will feel your heart through your legs. That's how Niebla taught me.
Your grandmother knew. She chose the horse, and she chose you. The land has two guardians now.
Nibla did not die that year, nor the next. She became a legend in her own lifetime, the oldest horse anyone could remember, grazing calmly as the cooperative flourished. The cooperative was still young, its road untested, but in the eyes of those who worked the soil, the old fear had been replaced by something that felt suspiciously like hope. Tomas slipped away in his sleep at 83. They buried him on a rise that looked over the cooperative's green tapestry. Catherine placed the cracked turquoise stone into the dirt of his grave, the same stone Donald had shattered. That evening, 100 candles flickered on the hillside as workers kept vigil, their lights trembling like hope guarded.
He was the first to call me Nina without pity. He believed I could win.
She was 30 now, silver streaks in her hair. She walked barefoot to the old jacaranda. Nibla stood under the purple blossoms, her coat almost white, her eyes milky yet watchful. At the sound of Catherine's step, the mare turned and nickered, a greeting unchanged by 32 years.
Soon, old friend, you'll rest beside Tomas, where the sunset never ends.
She pressed her forehead to the mare's soft muzzle and breathed the scent of grass and memory. In the quiet shade, the promise of a dead grandmother still thrummed beneath the soil. One morning, under the jacaranda, Nibla did not rise. The old mare had passed in the night, her coat silver as dawn.
She was the brave one. I only held on.
The workers buried her beside the jacaranda, where her offspring would someday stand. They fixed a small bronze plaque on the stable wall. Nibla, 32 years, the heart of the cooperative. A year later, a dust cloud at the gate. Eduardo dismounted, a little girl holding his hand, a little girl holding his hand.
Her name is Elena. She asked to see the place her grandmother came from.
Welcome home, little one. This land belongs to you as much as anyone.
The child reached out and touched the yellow apron, now clean and patched, that still hung at Catherine's waist. That afternoon, Catherine lifted the girl onto the back of a gray foal, a great-granddaughter of Niebla. The past had released its grip. Only the land and the future remained. 25 years later, Catherine stood on the cooperative's anniversary, gray hair tied back, her sun-lined face calm and open.
This land no longer belongs to one bloodline. It belongs to every hand that works it.
The cooperative had grown, a school, a veterinary clinic. Inside the main hall, her yellow apron hung framed beneath Doña Elena's portrait. A young reporter scribbled in a notebook, "What would you say to those who called the race impossible?"
My grandmother knew that sometimes a broken rule is the only way to get justice.
The crowd applauded, not for her, but for the truth that had outlived 2 generations.
40 years, no patron, no boots on their necks, and still the fields give harvest.
They called her Doña Catherine now, not in fear, but in affection, the same voice once whispered for the old señora. After the speeches, Catherine visited the jacaranda. 2 graves lay side by side, one of a stable hand, one of a gray mare. She turned back to the cooperative, where laughter rose from the kitchen and the land stretched green to the horizon. In her 72nd year, Catherine still walked to the jacaranda each week, a yellow flower for each grave.
Tomas, Nibla, sometimes I hear your voices in the wind.
One afternoon in the old chapel, she lifted the dust-caked Bible beneath Doña Elena's portrait. A folded paper slipped from the pages, a letter, brittle and weighted these long decades. "I have always been with you, every sunrise over the fields."
She left me words for my old age. Even then, she knew.
Catherine pressed the letter to her lips, then tucked it into the faded yellow apron pocket. She stepped out of the chapel into the late afternoon, the fields stretching gold before her.
Thank you, Abuela. You gave me more than land.
She reached the porch of her cottage and sat, the yellow apron folded on her lap, a smile settling on her weathered face. She lived 84 years, the yellow apron never far from her hands. When her time came, they buried her on the hillside with Tomas and Nibla. 3 graves now under the jacaranda. On the stable wall, a bronze plaque has greeted visitors for decades. Nibla, 32 years, the heart of the cooperative, and beside the stone that marks Tomas, a simple carving reads, "He believed in a barefoot girl." The cooperative they built still stands, where no child goes barefoot unwillingly. and every field belongs to those who work it, and beneath the jacaranda, where purple blossoms fall like memories, yellow flowers still bloom every spring. Nibla lived 32 years. Catherine lived 84. The ranch she won with a borrowed gray mare and bare feet remains a place where the land belongs to those who love it, and that is how a servant girl won a Patron's ranch in a rigged race, and a dead grandmother's love outlived them all.